Thank you for joining us on Weather Out West. I'm meteorologist Leah Pizzetti, and here is what we are tracking for you today. A storm is heading toward the west coast right now and is going to bring rain and wind to many of our Weather Out West communities. We'll have forecasts from our teams across the region with the timing of local impacts for this fall storm. And a fast-moving typhoon slammed the Philippines overnight, bringing devastating wind, flooding, and evacuations. We'll show you the impact and what's next for the region. Plus, the search is on for survivors after a 6.3 magnitude earthquake hit Afghanistan. We'll have the latest from the area hardest hit. And fireballs spotted over parts of western Washington, prompting a flurry of phone calls wondering what is going on. We'll introduce you to the people behind the display that lit up the night sky. Happy Tuesday to you. It is November 4th. Welcome to Weather Out West, the hour-long show here where we showcase what's happening weather-wise across the western United States. I'm meteorologist Leah Pizzetti. We begin today in Portland, where right now rain is moving into the Rose City. Let's get to meteorologist Rod Hill with the wet forecast this week.
Good morning on what's been a comfortable start to our day here in Portland. I'm meteorologist Rod Hill. We've got temperatures around 50 degrees. There's a wave of rain that comes in later this afternoon and this evening that kicks off heavier weather for us, if you will. Heavier weather, I'll tell you what that means, on Wednesday and Thursday. And the 2 days upcoming, we have an impact alert up. And by heavier weather, I mean both tomorrow and Thursday, we're going to see not completely steady rain, but just occasional shots of heavy rain just keeping on coming in from the Pacific. We'll see blustery to gusty south winds throughout both days, and there could be some thunder mixed in. Now, so far, no watches, warnings issued from the Weather Service, but it's noticeable weather, and especially if you're going to be outdoors spending time working Wednesday or Thursday, you will probably find yourself kind of dodging the weather from time to time. So here's the first front that comes in tomorrow morning. Back here's the next system that quickly swoops in. That comes in the latter part of Thursday afternoon. You can see rain in California this morning, and the first wave of moisture that kicks all this off. Futurecast takes it up into Tillamook at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Maybe starting a raindrop in Salem down to Eugene. Portland could potentially stay dry from all of this until we get close to the 5 o'clock hour. Here's 6. Now we've got rain that's pushed up across the area. Now I'm going to hit my button, and we're going to play this through Thursday. And we're going to play it, through Thursday, as I mentioned. Not steady rain, but see all the bright colors? Just waves, again, kind of waves or a pinwheel, if you will, of heavy rain pockets coming and going through the 2 days all the way into Friday morning. And then everything quickly settles down. So rain totals, and again, don't get fixated on thinking the science is good enough to attach a number to a city, but assume that perhaps the model has the range correct. So the range for the Oregon coast looks to be everybody gets over 2 inches, and maybe some spots get closer to 3. The range from Eugene up into Kelso is generally about 1.25 inches to maybe over 1.5 inches. And pretty good rain totals expected in the coming days. This is through Friday noon, all the way out across eastern Oregon. I mentioned the blustery winds. Again, not alert level yet, but this does show tomorrow morning south winds gusting 40 to 45 along Newport. Notice how the arrows bring up the south winds all day. This shows winds gusting 36 to maybe 40 in Salem at noon on Wednesday. And then we continue to see those gusts later in the day, Wednesday, of 30 plus, racing up the Willamette Valley and maybe approaching 40 miles per hour at times along the coast. And again, the south breezy to gusty winds continue on Thursday. Our live cameras this morning, we've had some touches of moisture falling out of the cloud deck, but really it's been pretty quiet. Chinook Winds Casino Resort in Lincoln City. There's a pretty shot from one of our Timberline live cameras up on Mount Hood. It will be all rain up here tonight, by the way. In fact, Timberline sets at 6,000. Could be rain all the way up to 8,000 feet. There's our capital, a little fog in the area, and there's Portland. Let me get you to our 7-day forecast. 59 today, the rain coming in late day into the evening. The impact alert in red for the heavy rain pockets, rumbles of thunder maybe, and breezy to gusty south winds. All of that ends during the day Friday. We're dry Friday night, we're dry Saturday. Maybe there's some rain coming in Sunday evening, but that rain could hold off until Monday.
Thank you, Rod. Nearby, that rain will also push inland to Idaho. Hector Mendoza is in Boise with the timing of the rain there.
Well, a pretty quiet and warm start to our week, but we have unsettled weather that's going to continue here through the next couple of days and all the way through at least Friday. So we have up and down temperatures as we continue on through Friday. And with that, we also have rounds of rain, snow, and winds that'll start to pick up in through Wednesday and in through Thursday. And as we look at some of the precipitation totals, the heaviest totals are expected to favor portions of the mountains. So as we look at our timeline, other than some showers that continue here through the rest of this afternoon and start to dry out, we're not expecting much to continue here through the rest of our Tuesday. Snow levels will stay around 7,000 feet, so that's what we're expecting, a little bit more of some of those light snow flurries. Then as we head on in towards Wednesday, we're not expecting to see a little bit more of those showers till the afternoon, but winds will start to pick up there Wednesday in through Thursday. On and off showers through Thursday, and then we'll continue with those widespread light rain showers through Friday, and then snow levels will start to drop as we do have cooler temperatures, and we are expecting to see a little bit more of that snow start to stack up in some of those mountain valleys. But again, it's going to be a couple of systems. Initially, we're seeing that system right now that's bringing us a lot of that rain. That's going to make its way off into the east and continue, and then we're going to see a bit of a break of some of the wet weather before the next system comes in very quickly and then brings us another round of some showers, and that's pretty much what we're going to see. Some of those shower chances stick around between 50 to 70% all the way through Friday. So we are going to see a little bit more of that as we head towards the end of the work week before we start to dry out there for the weekend. And we anticipate another warm up to come along Sunday into Monday. But let's put this future cast into motion as we're going to see a little bit more of those showers start to make their way out as we head towards the afternoon. Starting to see some much more of those scattered, very light showers there through portions of the mountains. Then as we get towards tonight and in through early Wednesday, we are going to continue with those clouds. But again, it's not until later on in through the afternoon for tomorrow. So for this Wednesday that we expect to see a little bit more of those showers make their way through as we're going to see that pass through the Treasure Valley, portions of the mountains, and then slowly make its way through and through the Magic Valley as we look at Jerome and Twin Falls and other spots there. And then we continue again to see another spark and another round of showers that comes along early in through Thursday and then continues on in through the afternoon. But again, as I mentioned, we do have lower snow levels that come along there for Thursday and Friday, and that's what's going to bring along a chance for about 1 to 3 inches of snow that comes along as we get towards Friday morning and in through the middle of the day. And then we start to see a little bit less of that active weather as we look at Saturday and Sunday. And then temperatures will start to climb up as we'll be back into the 50s as we look on ahead, with morning temperatures still into those upper 20s as we look up into the mountains. But as we look at tomorrow's wind gusts, this is for Wednesday, they're going to start to climb up between 20 to 25 miles an hour. Other spots as we look at Southeast Oregon could see a little bit more of those winds really pick up, getting to those wind gusts between 40 to 50 miles an hour. So maybe those winds aren't going to be as strong here, but still going to start to feel a little bit more of those windier conditions as we start to come on ahead and look along there for Wednesday and Thursday. But as we look at our 7-day forecast, we are going to start to see that those temperatures start to take a dip there from Wednesday in through Thursday, staying into those upper 50s all the way through Friday. And then we see those temperatures return to more seasonal territory in through Saturday, and then it'll start to climb up just a little bit more as we get on towards Sunday. See a little bit more of those clouds, and then morning temperatures will return to the low 40s. We'll be back into the upper 50s towards the beginning of next week.
We do want to go international quickly. Devastating flooding hit the Philippines overnight as Typhoon Kulmaigi made landfall. At least 26 people died because of the storm, with thousands displaced or trapped in the floodwaters. The state weather agency warned the storm will bring life-threatening conditions to parts of the country. Leaders in Vietnam, where the typhoon is now headed, are preparing for a worst-case scenario. And searchers are digging for any signs of life after yesterday's powerful earthquake in Afghanistan. At least 20 were killed and more than 640 injured when the quake struck near one of the country's largest cities. Officials expect the death toll to rise in the days ahead. The quake, which registered 6.3 magnitude, left several historic buildings and homes damaged or destroyed. Afghanistan has endured multiple quakes in recent years that caused thousands of deaths. The country lies along several fault lines, making it especially vulnerable to earthquakes. And an update from Jamaica in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa. These new images from NOAA show the extent of the damage on the island. You can see buildings were leveled by the storms, cars left piled up. As aid starts to pour in to help with recovery, the U.S. is also sending troops to assist in the cleanup. Seattle-based company Amazon is stepping in to help with Hurricane Melissa relief. The company specializes in shipping, so it's leaning into that expertise and shipping supplies to Jamaica. Amazon has 15 disaster relief hubs around the world, and this week we'll be sending supplies from the Atlanta hub. Those supplies include tarps, blankets, medical devices, power sources, solar lights, and more. Still ahead after the break, the storm that is hitting the Pacific Northwest could have some impacts on the Golden State as well. We'll show you which parts of California will see rain this week. Welcome back to Weather Out West. It is going to be a wet and windy day for a large portion of Northern California. Meteorologist Monica Woods has a look at which areas will see the highest rain accumulations.
I'm meteorologist Monica Woods tracking our changing weather forecast for our Tuesday morning. Clouds for the coast, cooling for the valley. We'll see a mix of sun and clouds for the foothills, and we're preparing for changes in the Sierra with some rain mixed with snow in the forecast on Wednesday. That leads us to our weather impact alert. The timing when Wednesday, impact being rain, windy, and cooler weather. Plan for those changes. Need to be aware of the weather forecast and how that may impact especially the morning commute. Here's a look at our departure from normal, and a bigger blast of cool air comes in for the middle of the week. We've been sitting largely above average. Now we really start to shift into that cooler weather pattern. For the most part on Tuesday, the rain band is going to be staying from about Chico northward through the valley into Redding and along the northwest coast. That's where we'll actually see bigger precipitation totals as well. So that's kind of the Tuesday outlook. Heading into Wednesday, though, the next band of rain starts to shift its way southward. This actually heads through central California, so we're going to be taking it all the way from Crescent City down through the Bay Area and then eventually into Monterey, even as far south as San Luis Obispo. So this band of precipitation really making its mark through northern and central California. It's going to be a mix of rain and snow in the Sierra. So as far as our snow totals, they're going to be kind of bouncing back and forth from rain and snow over the next 24 to 48 hours. So a preliminary amount of rain that we're looking at is about a half an inch or so throughout the valley. Lesser amounts for the central coast, close to about a tenth of an inch to a quarter of an inch. Much different, though, towards Eureka. 2+ inches of rain, about an inch plus for Redding. Onto our temperatures for our Tuesday, near 60 for the Tahoe Basin with 60s and 70s for the foothills. As we move towards the central Sierra, highs will still be making it into the 60s for today, and then moving into the Central Valley. For much of the San Joaquin Valley, we're going to be in the upper 70s. Really not seeing that shift to the cooler weather until we get to our Wednesday outlook. Along the central coast from the Monterey Bay Peninsula all the way into San Luis Obispo, highs are going to be in the upper 50s to right around the lower 60s. Inland areas, though, you can see for the San Joaquin Valley, we're in the upper 70s. Taking it north into the Bay Area, highs in the 60s for today. Inland areas are going to be in the 70s. And along the northwest coast, it's going to be a rainy one for us, highs in the 60s. We're looking at a mix of rain with partial clearing late in the day for the north end of the valley before that next band of rain starts to move through. Capital region, basically a mix of sun and clouds for our Tuesday. Highs are going to be in the 70s with overnight lows in the 50s. Watch out for the wind as well. This is really going to be part of the equation for that forecast, with wind gusts up to about 40+ miles per hour through parts of the valley, especially north of I-80 and for the capital region. Onto our 5-day regional forecast. Tuesday, mostly dry for the mountains. It's not until late Tuesday through Wednesday that we start to see mostly rain. It's going to be higher elevation snow at about 8,000 feet plus. So most of the passes are going to see rain, especially during the afternoon. Rain for the foothills as well as for the coast. And then we start to dry out and slightly warm up there for the end of the week into the upcoming weekend. So we've got a mixed bag of weather coming in. Of course, we've got our weather impact alert for Wednesday, dry for Election Day on Tuesday. And then we start to dry out, warm up as we head towards the end of the work week into the weekend, which is pretty good timing. Highs will be in the low 70s this weekend. Chance of rain returns deeper into the 10-day forecast.
Thank you, Monica. The rain does not make it as far south as San Diego County, but the storm does help offer a pattern shift that cools things down in Southern California. Meteorologist Vanessa Paz is in San Diego with the local forecast.
Happy Taco Tuesday from San Diego, California. I'm CBS 8 meteorologist Vanessa Paz. I had to show off our forecast with a picture that was submitted by Barry Allman because there's a lot going on. I mean, we have the sunset and we have obviously the waves crashing along the coastline. And we also have, if you don't notice, we have someone doing yoga on the bottom left of your screen. So Barry, thank you so much for sending in this photo. And we'll likely get some incredible photos of the full beaver moon later on tonight, and I'll be able to showcase those photos for you tomorrow. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at your weather headlines and see what's happening as we get through the middle of the week. Cooling, yeah, we've been enjoying it. We've been enjoying it, and it will continue all the way through Wednesday. We will have another foggy start late Tuesday into Wednesday, and that could potentially reduce visibility for our major freeways again. We saw it reduce this morning, not nearly as bad as Monday morning, but it was still pretty dense, especially along some of our major freeways. All right, the temperatures, unfortunately, they go back up Thursday and they will continue climbing all the way through the weekend. So when we tell San Diegans to really soak in the cool, comfortable fall-like conditions, we really mean it, because unfortunately, ridging will take over towards the end of the week into the weekend, and that will warm things up. All right, high temperatures for our Taco Tuesday across the board will be in the mid to high 70s. Close to average for interior parts of the county later on this afternoon. A little cooler for areas like Palomar Mountain this afternoon, hitting highs in the 60s. We'll also be in the 60s for a lot of those coastal and beach communities. 68 from Carlsbad all the way down to Del Mar. A little warmer, but not by much for spots like Oceanside as well as downtown San Diego. Oceanside and downtown, by the way, are usually some of the warmer spots along the coastal areas. 80 degrees this afternoon for Ramona, and we'll be hitting highs close to 90 degrees for Borrego Springs. All right, so here are why we're seeing some of the changes. A trough of low pressure will continue to barrel southward. Right now it is enhancing onshore flow for most of the west coast and ushering in showers, heavy showers for northern California. And it will continue to enhance onshore flow for us here in San Diego, increasing clouds when it comes to the evening and morning hours. We do have some clearing. A lot of those clouds retreat back to the coast later on this afternoon, making way for sunshine, especially for the inland valleys. And then we'll have those clouds return later on tonight into tomorrow morning, with the potential for some patchy drizzle and heavy mist on Wednesday morning. And then we'll have a mix of sun and clouds looking ahead to Wednesday afternoon. All right, we are going to have the return of easterly flow come Thursday and Friday, overnight in particular, and that's going to warm things up as we look ahead to the end of the week. So the reason why things are going to warm up is because those winds are going to come out of the west, then transition out of the east towards the end of the week. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at those overnight lows. Mid to high 60s, low 50s for the inland valleys as we roll out your 7-day coastal and inland forecast. Minimal daily changes for the coastal spots all the way through the middle of next week. For the inland valleys, pretty interesting. We see those temperatures continue to drop midweek and then rise back up Saturday and Sunday, and then temperatures will come crashing down next week. By next Wednesday and Thursday, we have the potential of seeing a storm that could bring some showers, much needed rain to San Diego. Meanwhile, here's a quick look at your mountains and deserts over the next 7 days.
Thank you, Vanessa. An Antarctic glacier shrunk by nearly 50% in just 2 months. It's the fastest retreat recorded in modern history, according to a new study. It's the Hectoria Glacier is on the Antarctic Peninsula, one of the fastest warming regions on Earth. It's roughly the size of Philadelphia. But according to the study published Monday in the journal Nature Geoscience, the glacier retreated by 5 miles between November and December of 2022. The study's authors say if larger glaciers retreat at similar rates, it could have catastrophic implications for sea level rise. They say a similar melting pattern has happened before, around 15 to 19,000 years ago during a period of warming that ended the last ice age. Experts say Hectoria's retreat was heavily influenced by climate change. Well, still ahead after the break, bright lights flew through the sky over the Pacific Northwest, leaving locals wondering if it was a meteor shower or UFO. Our team in Seattle got to the bottom of it, and that mystery solved will be after the break. Well, if you were in Western Washington Sunday night, you might have seen these bright fireballs streaking through the air. No, it was not meteors or aliens. Seattle's Connor Board met the people behind the light show.
What those fireballs actually were a group of skydivers that jumped out of this plane with sparklers on their feet, flying in the skies above Mason County.
It looked like a humongous meteor coming to town.
Fireballs raining from the sky. That's what multiple people reached out to King 5 about Sunday night.
I think it would be aliens for sure, 100%.
Ryan Vertigo and Andy Farrington were two of the 14 skydivers who took part in what they call a pyro jump.
And it just left this big old trail of fire behind our feet. And then, yeah, flying like squirrels. Here we go.
It was out of this world. It's nothing like I've ever really experienced. It was probably the most fun jump I've really ever had.
Andy helped lead the group.
So it's like one, and then it's just one right after another. And then my suit was white and lit up pretty good, so then everybody just kind of knew where to go.
Ryan has been organizing the jump the past month and a half.
Actually, haven't heard of a lot of people doing night wingsuit jumps before, very recently this large, and I wanted to do something really cool for the season kind of coming to an end.
And he made all of the pyrotechnic equipment himself.
Obviously, we had pyro hooked up to here. We have it up here on our left foot. A lot of help with it, but then I had to like build everything by scratch. So like this switch, everything. Chest strap on.
All the skydivers jumped in wingsuits.
This is the one I wore last night, yep.
Which allow them to soar at around 30 to 40 miles per hour.
And when it's time to pull your parachute, you reach back and pull your pilot chute right there.
While they can confirm no flying saucers were above Shelton Sunday night,
No aliens.
they cannot confirm people won't see more of their showmanship in the future.
So I'm going to do much, much more. So Shelton locals better get ready for it.
In Shelton, Connor Board, King 5 News.
All right, I'm glad we have the heads up, so no reason to panic. Okay, that was human caused, but we'll let Mother Nature handle this next one. Don't forget to look up. A supermoon will light up the sky tonight. Details on what makes this one special after the break. Thank you so much for sticking with us here on Weather Out West. We have many more stories ahead, but first, it's not Christmas yet in Denver. Relatively warmer temperatures are sticking around in that region. Our team in Denver has a look at what is to come in Colorado this week.
Hello from Denver, Colorado. I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin. We have had amazing cloud pictures this week. Alto cumulus coming in from the Lowry area, really cool cloud formations in the skies. Sunrise, sunset, we get these great lenticular clouds. Colorado is just a cool place to be this time of year. But it's also a bit of a temperature roller coaster. High pressure is our dominant feature, and that means the storm track is north. But every now and again, we'll get a little wave that comes into Colorado, creating a wind shift that allows for some cloud cover, but not the season's first snow. We're still looking for the first snow in Denver. So as our latest system tracks east, high pressure rebuilds. And here we go. I mean, we were 83, a record high on Sunday, 56 Monday. Today, we're back to sunshine and 74. And this looks to be the dominant weather trend for us as we move through the next 5 to 7 days, with all of the showers in the form of rain and snow moving into the Bay Area, up toward the northern Rockies, up over the top of Colorado, following the jet through the Midwest into the Northeast, where the weather will impact travel. Here, we have a few clouds drifting in from time to time. No rain, no snow. Maybe on Thursday, enough cold air support with a passing front that we could see a little northern mountain snow, but that's really about it. And now that daylight saving time has come to an end, it's getting darker earlier and certainly cool. So we're starting in the 40s this morning, and temperatures will warm to the mid-70s by the afternoon. We remain above average or seasonal right into the weekend. Then we see temperatures dip just a little bit. Clear skies hoping to to view that big, beautiful full moon on Wednesday. And again, all eyes on Thursday for the potential of a little northern mountain snow.
I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team's Katie LaSalle. Colorado, we get to go on a little bit of a roller coaster ride. Here across the region, we have some warmer air filtering in from the warmest temperature ever on record on Sunday in Denver. This ridge of high pressure in control now. We dropped our highs on Monday to only in the 50s. But for this Tuesday, November 4th, we are climbing right back up to near record territory. Expecting 75 out at Denver International Airport. That would be 2 degrees shy of the record of 77. In the high country as well, 50s to low 60s in a lot of our mountain towns. Denver's average high on this date is 58 degrees. The current record is 77. That was set back in 2020 out at the airport. Clear skies for tonight, and our overnight lows will also be relatively mild. Typically, this time of the year, we experience lows below freezing. We have not dropped down to that this morning, and the record that was 10 set back in 1967. Not talking record lows, but 10 degrees above average for both tonight and once again for tomorrow. A very mild stretch of weather ahead. But a lot of us here in the state may be dreaming of snow. Our average first snow is usually in mid to late October. It's looking like this year, 2025, will top out in the latest first snowfalls, at least in the top 10 category. We are tracking a mid-November cold front and a big system that may bring us a lot more cold air and the potential for our first measurable snowfall. But it has been 200 days since our last snow in Denver, which was April 18th, 16th longest snowless streak. And as we look at some of the numbers, 232 days, that is our record for both 2021 and way back in 1887. So we're inching closer to that streak of not seeing snow here on the ground in Denver. The high country definitely making snow at this stage with overnight lows well below freezing, but the mountains could definitely use some help from Mother Nature. Our next system will bring in the chance for light northern mountain snow on Thursday. Gusty winds at times across the plains, still in the 60s for highs to round out the week. A bit cooler on Saturday, and finally some more seasonal conditions by Sunday. We're expecting a high of 55 degrees by the afternoon.
Well, speaking of heat, Arizona's sweltering temperatures have not let up yet, but the end of the 90s might be in sight. Meteorologist Ginger Jeffries is in Phoenix with details on the relatively cooler temperatures on the way.
I'm meteorologist Ginger Jeffries with a look at your weather out west across Arizona, where we kind of broke up the sunshine yesterday. We usually have dominant blue skies, but yesterday Mother Nature put a little bit of a filter on the sunlight that gave us, views like this. Cotton candy skies, that's what I call them. Just incredible all day long. Even though the temperature is a little bit on the elevated side above the normal range, certainly not record territory. Gotta love this. Kurt, one of our 12 News weather watchers, sending me in this photo from Gilbert, and I had to share it with you. All right, so the clouds now exiting stage left, and now we're back to what we do best here, commanding sunshine. We'll still get some waves of clouds out there today, so it's not going to be perfection as far as clear skies go, and I'm really looking for those clouds in the morning, then turning sunny. It's enough to get those numbers up, so we're going to revisit our 90-degree status today in Phoenix. I've got 65 in Flagstaff, 74 in Sedona, about 80 in Globe, 88 in Tucson, about 90 in Yuma, and 91 in Parker. And again, it is going to be nice and clear later today, but in the morning hours, we're going to get a couple thin clouds here and there. And then as we look ahead, because, that's something we like to do, especially with a 7-day forecast, our numbers are going to come down. So we're out of the 90s for the valley, but we're staying above the normal range. I mean, this time of the year, 82 is where we're supposed to be. And as you can see, even though we dropped down to about 85 degrees, we're headed right back up to the upper 80s for the weekend. Now, for higher elevations, we're less than 3 weeks away from the opening of some of our ski resorts. We've got some good snow-making conditions because it's so abundantly dry. We just need to get those overnights a little bit cooler, so that is on the horizon. All right, we're hitting 90 degrees today. That is going to add one more drop in the bucket, bringing our grand total this year to 180 days in the 90s, which is above the normal range. But after today, even though we're staying in the upper 80s for the weekend, I think we are done with the 90s. All right, so Futurecast shows a couple thin clouds working through the region. We're going to see that revisit by Thursday as well. And even though there was now this atmospheric river, which is now turned into a pineapple express in the Pacific Northwest and the West Coast, it's going to start to drop a little bit. We're going to see a sag in the jet stream by Thursday, and I think that is going to result in a little bit of a wind event for us. Again, not a major wind event. We're only talking about winds between about 15 to 25 miles an hour for a very small time on Thursday, but I just want to put that out there, especially for the rim into Navajo Nation. This could start to expand into lower deserts by Wednesday, so I'll keep you posted on that, but otherwise just understand it's on my radar, so I want it on your radar. All right, today in Phoenix, we've got some morning clouds. We're turning sunny. We've got highs at about 90 degrees. Not record territory, not where we're supposed to be. We are edging on the warmer side, so you really need to enjoy the evenings. We've got most clear skies tonight, dropping down to about 61 degrees. Tomorrow, as mentioned, we're done with the 90s, but we're staying above the normal range. That's about 88 in Phoenix, 74 in Sedona, and 64 in Flagstaff. Looking ahead, making some weekend plans. Yeah, I start my weekend plans on Monday. I'm with you. We are going to see numbers leveling off in the 60s. Clouds and winds will return in the higher elevations for the valley. That means we're dropping to about 85 degrees on Friday, but yeah, warming back up for this weekend. Moral of this weather story, at or above normal next 7 days.
Well, tonight we are in for a celestial treat. November's full moon is tonight, early tomorrow morning. It is called the Beaver Moon. This is the second of 4 in a row. The next 2 are in December and then January of 2026. Supermoons are closer to the Earth, so they appear bigger and brighter. This will be the brightest and closest full moon of the entire year. The moon will be 2,800 miles closer to the Earth than last month's full moon. The peak full moon will actually occur early in the morning on Wednesday morning in the U.S. So for people hoping to catch a glimpse, best bet is going to be try to peak late tonight, late Tuesday night, or just after midnight on Wednesday, but it will appear bright all night long. And let's now take a live look outside of Seattle. If we get clear skies and a little bit of dry weather, it could be worth it to go out and catch the show in the sky tonight. Another show. This is the time of the year when the Taurids meteor shower produces swarms of fireballs. Tonight and tomorrow night are expected to be the peak of them streaming overhead, but keep in mind, the American Meteorological Society says visibility gets drowned out a little bit because of the bright full moon tonight. So you can keep an eye out for the Taurids, but do be warned, they may not be as impressive as normal because of that bright full moon. Well, we are not done yet here on Weather Out West. We still need to get to our forecasts in Washington. From the west part of the state to the east, those forecasts are up after the break. Welcome back to Weather Out West. Let's get back to the Northwest. Washington State is bracing for the next round of rain moving in tonight. We've already shown you that storm. It's impacting a good chunk of the Pacific Northwest. Washington is definitely one of those regions. We are going to start in eastern Washington with meteorologist Thomas Patrick and the timing of rain in the eastern parts of the state.
Meteorologist Thomas Patrick in Spokane, Washington. It's been a wet morning throughout the inland Northwest. Really the same rain that we had from last night. Still lingering in parts of the region. And at elevation, it's another round of snow. This is Silver Mountain that you're seeing in North Idaho out at the Silver Valley. They are loving the fresh snow that they've been getting recently, both in November and last month as well. More of that to come for the higher elevations. Otherwise, just more rain for our area cities in eastern Washington and North Idaho, as that mountain snow is likely going to stay above 3,500 feet. Funny enough, I would consider this mild for November, especially for the second half of this week. Not just Silver Mountain, but Schweitzer Mountain also getting a fresh coating of snow this morning. Not quite as much as Silver. It was a little bit lighter in the panhandle of North Idaho, but still more than high enough elevation-wise to get this snowfall Falls, you see Schweitzer at 6,400 feet, Silver Mountain above 6,000 feet as well. Even Lookout Pass, which is about 4,700 feet of elevation, did get snow this morning. Everywhere else was on the rain side of the line, as again, that rain snow line hovering at about 3,500 feet of elevation today. Quite a swath of moisture started last night and it lasted all night long, only just coming to an end late morning for Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. We're likely actually dry for the remainder of the day here, but this is going to keep us pretty cool, probably mid 40s for high temperatures. Nothing outstanding there for November standards. Funny enough, that is basically just 1 degree off of the average high temperature for the date. The rest of the forecast is going to be in the 50s, slightly above average. So a decently mild pattern. And again, more than warm enough to keep everything as rain for our low elevation cities here, especially Wednesday and Thursday, tracking very, very likely opportunities for rain. Friday, I reduced the rain chances a bit just because there was no specific storm set to hit on Friday. It's really just any lingering rain from Thursday's rainfall. Just want to quickly show Future Tracker. Nothing specific to show here because of the scattered nature of the showers for Wednesday and Thursday. So nothing really stood out to me as this is the moment, these are the cities, this is the area. It's just kind of that general wet, scattered shower vibe, if you will. Most of the day Wednesday, most of the day Thursday. We'll see the peppering of these scattered showers on and off, hit and miss throughout those 2 days. It's just a matter of how long does the rain last. Could it be as long into Friday morning? Absolutely, since those rain chances were still intact, but I didn't see a follow-up storm to hit on Friday specifically. So here's the total amount of rain still to come between now and the end of Friday. Probably about a ½ an inch of rain, give or take, across eastern and central Washington. Still a far cry compared to those on the west side, where Seattle will get about 1½ inches of rain at the same time. And again, those snow levels should stay at above about 4,000 feet as high temperatures climb a little bit more into the 50s starting tomorrow.
And that visual Thomas just showed you, you can see eastern Washington isn't getting quite as much rain as western Washington. We'll get to your western Washington forecast in just a moment, but first, the Washington State Department of Agriculture just completed its annual survey for pests, and a bug originating from abroad has gotten their attention. The survey found a threefold increase in the number of invasive Japanese beetles trapped this past year. The insect was first discovered here in 2020. They threatened 300 different types of native plants, plus grapevines, vegetables, apple and cherry trees. The agency plans on expanding its Japanese beetle eradication efforts next year to include parts of King County in western Washington. And now let's get to your forecast in western Washington. As you just saw on Thomas's map, western Washington, the Seattle metro area will get a brunt of the rain in the state as that storm moves in. This is due to the Cascade Mountain ranges. They kind of divide the middle of the state. So western Washington gets hit first. The Cascades suck up a lot of the moisture, not sending quite as much over to eastern Washington. So that is the situation as we head into tonight. Meteorologist Rich Marriott is in Seattle with a look at those expected accumulations for the western part of the state.
Hi, I'm King 5 meteorologist Rich Marriott, and things played out as pretty much as expected yesterday. We saw a little light rain move in, kind of wet things down a little bit late in the day yesterday. That's all moved far to the east of us. In fact, might have felt a little chilly yesterday. Well, you weren't feeling wrong, as a matter of fact. We checked that high temperature out at the airport at SeaTac. It only hit 49 degrees. That's the first time we've had a high temperature below 50 degrees since way back on March 20th, which is 228 days. So we've had a pretty good run. I suspect we're going to be seeing more of those 40-degree temperatures and maybe even cooler here as we head into the next month or so. But not right away. We're going to see still some pretty mild temperatures. In fact, Bellingham looking pretty this morning. It's started to clear out. You can see the fog bank out over the water, but lots of blue sky, and that's going to be just about everywhere clearing out for later on. We're going to see a little bit of sunshine today before we get into another wet and blustery pattern as we head towards midweek. Granite Falls had a nice sunrise this morning. We got a few clouds kind of drifting through right now and still trying to burn the clouds off there in Everett, but they'll get there eventually during the course of the morning. And some nice lighting going on around the Columbia Tower, looking out there towards Lake Washington, seeing a little bit of fog over on the east side. And got that nice lighting going there in Tacoma as well starting off today. And it'll be nice to see a little sunshine this afternoon. In fact, seeing the 7-day forecast, we do get that after the morning fog, but rain's going to be moving in along the coastal beaches probably a little before sunset and then move into Puget Sound by later on this evening. Should be after the evening commute, so that's good news. And just kind of blustery and wet here the next couple of days, though we do dry as we head into Friday, and right now still on track to see some sun over the weekend before, of course, the rain returns as we head into next week. Take a look out of the satellite image. Cause of all this wet weather the next couple days, this system sitting out here, it's going to be developing over the next 24 hours. Kind of a weak atmospheric river is going to kind of push in along the coast. It's not as strong as what we saw about 10 days ago or so, but it's going to give us a pretty good round of rain as we head into Wednesday. And the secondary system is going to develop in there. That's going to be moving in as we head towards Thursday, but there'll be a little bit of a break in between where the rain will let up and let things drain off. So we're not looking for any significant river flooding at this point. Skokomish might get to flood stage, but the other rivers should stay below flood level. So that's good news, but we'll keep a close watch on that. Then there's a break behind that, which is what we're going to be looking at as we head towards the weekend. Computer model shows you how it plays out. So we have a little bit of sunshine today, and then as we head towards late in the day today, we see that rain moving up from the south and southwest. Pretty wet looking tomorrow. Not a lot of variation between Wednesday and Thursday. And then finally we get the cold front through late Thursday. Should see those showers decrease on Friday. And then as we head into the weekend, we're going to be looking for some sunshine as we had the next system start to approach the coast as we head towards later on Sunday. But I think we'll get through most of Sunday over the interior before that starts to head in. If you are headed up to the mountains, well, we do have barren wet pavement across the passes. No driving problems at all from the weather, it looks like. And those snow levels, unfortunately, not in winter snowpack building range. We're mostly above the mountain highway passes, which also means we're mostly above the bases of the ski areas here for the next few days until we get down close to it there on Friday. But we also dry out at that point. And then over the weekend with that sunshine, we're going to see warm air mass kind of move through, pushing those snow levels up to 9 to 10 to maybe 11,000 feet before we cool a little bit as we head into next week. So overall for today, we should see skies clear out to partly sunny everywhere and temperatures getting to the mid to maybe some upper 50s. Rain moves in tonight, rainy and blustery for Wednesday and Thursday. We'll see some gusty downslope winds this evening for parts of the Cascades for Pierce, King, and Snohomish counties. Just a little downslope, which might cause some minor power outages. Again, that's later on this evening on through early tomorrow morning with some downslope winds. And then southerly winds return Wednesday and Thursday for the breezy conditions there. We'll see decreasing showers as we head into Friday. Saturday, partly sunny. We'll start Sunday partly sunny, but the clouds will move in later. Rain will move in Sunday night. A little bit of rain early Monday, turning to off and on showers, and highs staying mostly in the mid to upper 50s all the way through.
Staying in the Pacific Northwest, southern resident killer whales are an endangered and beloved species in the Northwest. And unfortunately, another orca calf has died. Still ahead, what the most recent death means for the orca population numbers. Finally tonight, an update to a story we brought you yesterday. A southern resident killer whale calf has died. This is highlighting the struggles facing the endangered species. I spoke to an expert about what this means for population numbers.
This iconic Pacific Northwest species continues to struggle.
J64 had gone missing and is presumed to be deceased.
The new calf was born in the J-Pod on September 18th and within a week had gone missing. With a calf that young, experts know it means it did not survive. In the last year, 4 southern resident calves have been born, but only 2 are still alive. That survival rate has been steady since the 90s, says Howard Garrett with the Orca Network.
Well, that's unfortunately all too typical of the southern residents these days, that about 50% of the babies that are born do not survive more than a year.
J62, born December 30th of 2024, and J63, born April 6th of this year, are both still alive. But J61, born New Year's Eve, died almost immediately. The mother, J35, once again carried that calf for at least a day. She famously carried her deceased calf for 17 days back in 2018. And now J64's death marks a trend of continuing stagnant population numbers.
They're at a plateau. They're kind of staying there. And probably they would have been a lot lower if there hadn't been all of those restoration efforts in the past couple of decades. But it's still not enough. There's just still not enough Chinook out there for them.
For Environment Northwest, I'm meteorologist Leah Pizzetti.
Well, that does it for us here on Weather Out West on this Tuesday. I'm meteorologist Leah Pizzetti. Thank you so much for spending the last hour with us. We'll be back here tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a great day.